If you are not sure if your pain or symptoms are coming from your body or brain, this video will help you figure it out. Neuroplastic pain is pain that is amplified by the brain or the nervous system, even when there is not an injury or a structural problem in the body. It's really important to know that neuroplastic pain is not fake, it's not all in your head, it's just coming from a different source. In this video, I'm going to go through 5 signs that your pain and symptoms may be neuroplastic. The first sign that you may have neuroplastic pain is that pain and symptoms move from different parts of the body. So for example, you may have back or knee pain that has been undiagnosed or hasn't responded to treatment. You may also have things like digestive issues and or fibromyalgia. Sign number 2 is that pain increases with stress and heightened emotions. This is fairly widely accepted, with books such as The Body Keeps the Score and the work of Louise Hay becoming popular, and people understand things like they get run down, they may get a cold, and I think that's quite widely accepted and we talk about that. However, with neuroplastic pain, it's often bigger triggers, so really stressful life events. People may or may not remember what triggered their stress, but it is often things like loss of a job, divorce, big financial stresses and changes, really big life changes also. And sometimes these can even be good, such as getting married or getting promoted, and I'll talk more about that in another video. But often pain will be triggered by a stressful event, and you may have had the pain come and go, but it might come back again when you're going through a stressful period. I don't necessarily think we need to know exactly what happened that triggered the events, but I do think it's important to know what people are going through in the present moment, what their current limiting beliefs are, their thoughts, fears, and emotions that may be keeping neuroplastic pain in place, and working with those. Sign number 3 is that you've tried many things and nothing has worked in the long term. So this may include a combination of traditional medical interventions and complementary therapies, alternative therapies. However, with any of these, you haven't experienced any real lasting change. Sign number 4, and this is a classic one, that the pain or symptoms go away when you're distracted, and particularly when you're engaging in something that you enjoy. So this may be a hobby, it may be socializing, it may be cooking, gardening, anything that sort of immerses your attention. And particularly when you're in the flow of an activity, and you might realize after the fact, you may realize during it, but often it'll be after the fact that you'll realize that you didn't have pain or symptoms in that time. And it's only after you finish that you're like, oh, they came back, which indicates that at some point they weren't there. I think it's particularly good to really notice when this happens, because it helps to build an understanding of neuroplastic pain and that the brain is at play here and not just the body. And it helps to reduce that doubt and have more confidence that the issues are being triggered by the brain and the nervous system, and therefore you can work with that and retrain those parts of your body. Number 5 is that you have one or many of these following personality traits: perfectionism, people pleasing, the need to be liked, being over-responsible, repressing emotions, particularly emotions that you don't find acceptable, such as anger or sadness, a tendency towards anxiety, and weak boundaries. So there's some of the top signs that your pain may be neuroplastic. And of course, this is good news because it means it is treatable. If you have one or many of these signs, there is a fair chance that your pain is neuroplastic. Of course, as always, it's important to make sure you speak to your doctors and get medical intervention. However, if listening to this and many other videos and reading books has led you to believe that your pain is neuroplastic, the good news is there is plenty that can be done to help that. The way I work with clients with neuroplastic pain is through a combination of hypnotherapy, which I use to help calm the nervous system, rewire the brain, and to help to safely express emotions. Also parts therapy, somatic processing, and a range of other activities and strategies which help people reprocess their pain. I work one-on-one with clients, both face-to-face here in Melbourne, in Australia, and online. And if you'd be interested in looking into that, there's some links below that you can click on. I would love to hear from you, and I hope to see you again in the next video.